The camera opens on an empty Hollywood soundstage. Dust floats through a single beam of light, the kind that once framed legends. And in that quiet, a question lingers like a held breath. What really happened between Deborah Kerr and Burt Lancaster? For decades, their on-screen chemistry burned so intensely it felt dangerous. But just before her death, Deborah Kerr is said to have shared a truth that reframed everything we thought we knew. A truth that wasn't about fame, but about fear, loyalty, and a choice that haunted her for the rest of her life. In the 1950s, Deborah Kerr was Hollywood elegance personified. Graceful, disciplined, almost untouchable. Burt Lancaster was her opposite, raw, physical, unpredictable. When they met on set, crews whispered, not because of scandal, but because something shifted in the room when they stood together. It wasn't just acting, it was tension you could feel in your chest. Directors noticed it, audiences felt it, and Deborah felt it most of all. There's a story from the filming of one of their most famous scenes. The take ends, no one says cut, the room stays silent. Deborah breaks eye contact first, steps back, and asks for a moment. Later, a makeup assistant would say her hands were shaking, not from nerves, from restraint. What was she holding back? And why did Burt, known for his confidence, suddenly look unsure? Years passed, careers soared, lives moved on. On the surface, Deborah Kerr and Burt Lancaster were just two professionals who made unforgettable films together. But beneath that polished narrative, something unresolved lingered. Friends noticed how Deborah avoided questions about Burt, how she would smile, then gently change the subject, as if the truth was too heavy to carry aloud. Near the end of her life, Deborah's world grew quieter. Awards sat untouched, scripts were no longer read, and in that stillness, memories grew louder. According to someone close to her, Deborah finally spoke, not to the press, not for headlines, but in a private conversation, heavy with emotion. She said there was a moment, a single turning point, when everything could have changed. She described a night after filming wrapped early. Burt had asked her to walk with him. No cameras, no crew, just two people stripped of their public personas. He spoke about doubt, about feeling trapped by expectations, about seeing something in her that scared him because it felt real. Deborah listened, and in that moment, she felt the same pull, the same dangerous possibility. But here's the truth, she revealed. She walked away, not because she didn't feel it, but because she felt it too deeply. Deborah said she saw where that path led. Scandal, broken families, a legacy reduced to gossip. She had spent her life building something rare in Hollywood, respect without chaos. And she believed that choosing him, choosing that moment, would destroy them both. Burt, she said, didn't argue. He just nodded. And that silence stayed with her forever. After that night, something changed. Their performances grew more intense, almost painful to watch. As if every scene carried what they never said. Critics praised it. Audiences called it magic. But Deborah knew it was grief. The grief of a life not lived. Burt Lancaster, in later interviews, spoke about missed chances. He never named her. He didn't have to. His eyes did. The pauses did. He once said some roles never end. When the cameras stop, was he talking about a character or a woman who chose restraint over desire? Deborah Kerr carried that choice quietly. No public regret, no dramatic confession, just a truth she held until the end. And when she finally shared it, it wasn't with bitterness. It was with acceptance. She wondered aloud whether doing the right thing always meant doing the easy thing. Whether self-control is bravery, or just another kind of fear. So here we are, decades later, watching those films again, seeing the looks, the pauses, the heat beneath the dialogue, and knowing now that what we're watching isn't just acting. It's a record of a moment when two people stood at the edge of something irreversible and stepped back. What would have happened if Deborah hadn't walked away that night? Would their lives have been richer or ruined? Is the greatest love story sometimes the one that never happens? And how many of us are still living with a choice we made in silence, believing it was for the best? Deborah Kerr's final truth wasn't a scandal. It was a confession about sacrifice, about choosing legacy over longing. And it leaves us with a haunting reminder. Some of the most powerful stories in history were never lived out loud. They were felt, buried, and carried quietly to the end.